What's up guys? Welcome back to Life of Lanebut. It's almost Valentine's Day. I've got my pink nails, I've got my pink blanket, I've got my cute little top. I have blood orange kombucha. I've had this channel for 2.5 years now and I share a lot of my life with you guys. And I talk about lots of different things on here. There's some things that I've been really vulnerable with or just really open about, I guess. But there's one thing that I've slowly started to talk about more, but I've really avoided talking about for a long time that I don't want to avoid anymore. It's not like a secret, but it is something that I always thought I would be judged for talking about. We're just gonna say it. I have been single for 4 years and I've only ever been in one relationship in my life. I kind of want this to be closer. I don't know what I want from this angle. That's what we're talking about today. Dating, being single, advice. I have a lot of advice to give you guys. I'm a really big hypocrite and probably everything that I say in this video, I'm either currently struggling with following my own advice or I have the advice to give you because I've done the opposite of whatever I have to say. I am someone who has at many points found it really hard to focus on anything except finding a relationship, being in a relationship, being heartbroken. So if that's not you, hopefully I still have some good stuff to say to you, but that's where I'm coming from. Also, I wanted to say I'm a Christian and that's like a pretty big part of my life. I think tons of this you can, if that's not you, you can still apply it and hopefully we'll have some common ground. Also, I'm an Enneagram 4, if that means anything to you. Just take it with a grain of salt. Now I'm going to take you through a very quick timeline of my relationship statuses across my life, just to bring you up to speed, kind of to get it off my chest so I don't have to go over it again. I think starting in middle school was kind of the first time that I was ever like in a talking stage with a boy, and I always had someone that I was talking to up until the time that I had my first boyfriend. For like 2-ish years, messy timeline, in high school I had a boyfriend, and if you know me in real life and you're looking for tea on that relationship, you're probably in the wrong place. All I really have to say about that is that I was a teenager and a dumb high schooler. Everyone could have made better, healthier decisions, but also at the same time, like all of that stuff, even though now it sounds like dumb, I can barely read the text on my computer. Even though I feel like everyone's high school relationship that doesn't work out is stupid, it was also very necessary for me. I learned so much important stuff from it. After that relationship ended, I talked to some people, downloaded dating apps in college. That pretty much brings you up to speed now, right? And then this moves us to the why I'm single portion of the video. I think we can start with the timeline after that relationship. So that ended. I went to a really small high school, right, where everyone knew each other. So like everyone had kind of seen my last relationship. And also by the time that I was like over it enough to start thinking about dating again, I was about to move to Tennessee, 5 hours away. Didn't really make much sense. I got to college. I was also diagnosed with celiac disease right away, which was its own thing. Yeah, and if you guys didn't know, I transferred, so like being in a place that I didn't want to be in, all of that stuff was really hard. Anyway, I downloaded dating apps for the first time when I got to college. I went on a few dates between the start of college and COVID, but my second semester I had decided that I wanted to transfer, so I wasn't really looking for anything super long term. COVID happened and then I went home and then I went back to that school for a semester, but the whole time I was planning on leaving. So again, moving back 5 hours didn't really make sense to start anything with anyone in Tennessee. Once I transferred to Purdue, I lived at home for a semester, so I wasn't really meeting anyone. And then I got here last semester and I did the most dating that I've ever done in my entire life, which wasn't even that much, but like for me was a lot. And now I'm here. Why else am I single besides my messy timeline? Things I talk about on here a lot. I think there's a lot of things that kind of set me apart because I'm not like the other girls. Body hair is probably the one I've talked about the most on here. The fact that I shaved my head, you know, narrows down my audience significantly. I think having a YouTube channel, is it a turnoff? Comment down below. Also, I've heard recently that I am too intimidating, assertive, confident, masculine, maybe. Oh, also being gluten-free is really hard. The thing is though, all of that doesn't really give you an answer because I know bald girls that have boyfriends or are in a relationship, I guess. I know girls with body hair that are in relationships. I know YouTubers that are in relationships. I know gluten-free people that are in relationships. I know confident women who are in relationships. And I know people with high standards, or whatever you want to call it, that are in relationships. So it doesn't really give you an explanation. Now let's move on to what I've learned in my 4 years of singleness, but probably more in the past year or two, I would say. Number one, there is a plan for my life. And honestly, this is one of the things that I'm really bad at like believing or remembering, because I'm like, where what direction am I going in? Is something gonna happen for me romantically? Like, I think looking back on everything is where I can see that like clearly there's been a plan for my life. I'm really glad that nothing's worked out so far. Just when I look back on like things that I really wanted to work out and I was really upset with God for not letting work out, now it's really obvious to me why that stuff didn't work out. I don't want to be a relationship person, which for a long time I really thought that I was a relationship person. When I got out of my first relationship, I was like, well, this sucks, but I know that I'm a relationship person, so another relationship is just gonna fall into my lap. And I'm really glad I'm not, because I think there's just a lot of downsides to being that type of person. Things that people in relationships or other people do that make me feel bad. This is just kind of me airing my grievances for a second, so bear with me here. I remember one time I was at a party a while back and I was the only person there not in a relationship. This guy turned to me and was like, so are you dating anyone? And I was like, no. I was gonna try and add like a disclaimer and be like, but I was like, I don't really have to make an excuse for it. Like, it's okay for me to just say no. The conversation just ended there completely, and he like turned his body away from me and had nothing else to say or ask me about. There was just like no more conversation to be had with me and nothing else he could have asked me about myself. The implication that I'm not trying hard enough and that if I tried harder or did something differently, I would be in a relationship. I feel like every couple I know just kind of met their partner by accident. Like, I don't really know anyone who met on like, actually maybe I do know one person. Otherwise, I barely know anyone that met on like a speed date or a dating app or anything like that. Like, everyone I know met at school or church or through a hobby or something. And I go to school and I go to church and I have hobbies and here I am, you know? And also, I have put in the work. Everyone wants to tell me what I'm doing wrong, but rarely wants to hear me complain or listen to me be sad or upset or struggling. Yeah. Also, everyone loves to tell me about the positives of being single and not acknowledge how it's harder to be single than be in a healthy relationship. In general, you're never miserable or looked down on by society or pressured to change your relationship status if you're in a long, healthy relationship, and that's not the case when you're single for a long time. One of the worst things, I think, again, as a Christian, is the way that the church approaches singleness and how it's like a season. Basically, every time that I've ever tried to, and I could have made more effort, so maybe this is kind of on me. Every time it's ever been brought up, or like I've brought it up, it's always like, well, God's preparing someone for you, or God's preparing you for someone. Like, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. This dark, horrible tunnel of being single. Of course, people have good intentions with that, but like, not everyone gets married, and I might not get married, and I still wanna, I still exist beyond that. At a time when I was really struggling with it, like a couple months ago, I tried to do a devotion on it, and the devotion was like, girl, you're so empowered and wonderful, and your future husband just can't wait to get to you. And even if that's like what's gonna happen for me today and for the past 4 years, which is a long time, that hasn't been a part of my life at all, and I shouldn't just be waiting for it to be, right? Like, I don't know. I don't really have a good conclusion to that, but whatever. The truth is that there is no guarantee that anyone is coming. I might be single for the rest of my life. If you think that God predestined stuff, then that might be his whole plan for me. Like, that I never have another romantic connection until I die. And I know that sounds harsh and unfortunate, and honestly, like, I do hope that that's not the case, but that could be it. And waiting around for something that might never happen is dumb, and I want to live my life now, and I want to learn to be happy now so that I can know how to be happy if I'm single when I'm 70, you know? Anyway, there's that. Things that have gotten easier about being single. Number one, rejection. Being rejected and giving out rejection. I feel like the first time is really hard. There's this idea that I'm really into called rejection therapy. I can't remember if I've ever talked about it on here. The idea is, I remember I watched a video on it, and the example in the video was like asking the person behind you in line if you can pay for their coffee. And if that's something that's really easy for you, this idea probably doesn't apply to you. But the thing is, like, there's not really a bad outcome. They say yes, you pay for their coffee, you see that it's okay to ask people to pay for their coffee, or they say no and you get rejected, and that's small way, and then you're fine and you keep living your life and you just move on with your day. And the more and more you do that, the more and more you see that like it's okay to ask things and it's okay to be told no. Seeing people in happy relationships. has gotten easier. This used to suck, especially at times when I've really wanted a relationship. It's really hard to see everyone else get to have one and kind of wonder what they did to earn it, or like why they deserve it more than me. I think realizing that I can create or access happiness on my own has also made it a lot better, because I used to think that the only way I could be happy was to be in a relationship. Managing my expectations has gotten easier. I used to really hype up like a talking stage or a first date. I used to put so much pressure on things to work out, so then is like a huge letdown if it doesn't work out. And now that I've changed my perspective on that and know that I can be happy on my own, and also know that like, especially not everything has to work out to like even serve a purpose, things are a lot better. Separating my feelings from my expectations and knowing like it's okay if it doesn't last forever, and if it does last forever, it's not the answer to my problems. Also that it's just one aspect of my life is really good, and that's gotten better, but I had to work at it. Things I have found unexpected joy in singleness. So I talked about in my New Year's resolution video, I talked about that book called Liturgy of the Ordinary, and I think that made me just appreciate, it's not really about, I mean, the author is married and it's not about being single at all, but it's just like the stuff that you have to do every day in your life. So much of our lives is going to the grocery store and making food and doing laundry, sitting in traffic and all that stuff. And I think just like realizing that I can enjoy things like that that make up a significant part of my life on my own, joy, bro. Like, yeah, that's been cool. Things I love about being single, this is kind of similar. The selfishness. I don't have anyone to answer to. I can do whatever I want, and I can do things for myself. This is also one of the advices, I think. I can meet so many different people, and I can go on as many dates as I want, stay out as late as I want. I can flirt with whoever I want. I can shave my head and not have to worry about if my partner's gonna like it, or, you know, like stuff like that. I have so much freedom. It's pretty cool. Things that have helped me in my singleness. This book. Read this book. If you are a person, you should read this book. If you're single, you should read this. If you're in a relationship, you should read this. If you love women, you should read this. I actually just ordered this for a friend, and I've realized that I need to keep it because I want to make all of my friends read it. And then yesterday I ordered it and sent it to a friend because it's like essential. Content warnings. This book covers like everything, and it's kind of not vulgar, but like it's a lot. Okay, it's called Women Don't Know You Pretty by Florence Given. Wow, this book, this literally changed my life. I think I read it almost a year ago for the first time, and there's a lot in here that's not about dating, but a lot of it is, and a lot of it's just about self-worth, which I think is really important. I don't even agree with all of this stuff in here, but like life-changing, essential book for me. Okay, hobbies and friendships. I feel like this is always like advice that people give to someone going through a breakup, or just like being perpetually single, I guess, is to pour into your hobbies and your friendships. When I was really heartbroken, that was not the advice that I wanted to hear. Even when I did it, I was like, this doesn't fix my problems, and I thought that that's what the advice was for, was like spending time with my friends or putting effort into my hobbies was something that would make me stop being sad. And then when it didn't work, I was like, this is the worst advice I've ever heard. If that's how you feel, I would encourage you to keep at it. Your friends are not there to make you stop being sad, and your hobbies aren't going to fill like a hole in your heart, but they will give back to you in ways that sitting in your room crying for months probably will not. Also, my relationship with God. I wish I had something more solid to say about that, I guess, and I don't. Let's get into the advice, guys. I am, again, only one relationship, only one real breakup in, but I do have my bachelor's degree in singleness now, officially. I'm a very judgmental person, so I've had plenty of time to think about every relationship that I've ever seen ever, so you should probably listen to me. We're gonna start with the soft advice. Actually, I'm gonna go to the bathroom first, if you don't mind. Okay, soft advice time. I got this one a couple of times. Pick someone that you enjoy hanging out with as a friend and platonically. Of course you want to be attracted to them. I'm not suggesting, can we get that TikTok going real fast?
You were walking down the aisle to Zach and you whispered over to me and you were like, I'm not attracted to him, but I'm going for it.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. Basically, a lot of what you do as a couple, especially as you are getting older and doing more adult things with your life, a lot of what you do is not romantic or sexual or physical or whatever. It's great to have chemistry with someone, and it's great to be really attracted to them. Like, that's something that I like. But most of what you do is not that. And you have to, I don't know, you have to make dinner with them, and you have to watch TV with them, work out with them, do taxes with them, and yeah, like make financial decisions or help them move and stuff like that. That's like a lot of what your time together is gonna be. So you should make sure that you can do those things well together. Actually, a few people said some version of being able to talk about anything and not feeling judged by them, and then being authentically you. That sounds like really obvious advice, but I think a lot of people are not that comfortable with their partners, and yeah, you should be with someone that you're 100% cool with. Like, if you can't be like that with your partner, are they even really dating you, or are they dating like an altered version of you that's not 100% yourself? Some people said that setting boundaries and communications early on is really important. It's weird because honesty is kind of hard, but very simple. All you have to do to be honest with someone is say the right words to them. Just another rejection therapy thing, guys. Like, be honest, be yourself, and if someone can handle it, then like, great, there you go. And if they can't handle it, great, you got that one out of the way quick. If you can't be content single, you aren't ready for a relationship. Part of me very much agrees with this. If you're unsatisfied or unhappy with your life while you're single, you're probably going to bring that into a relationship and expect your partner to satisfy you in ways that you should have handled yourself. I think that I often hear this advice as like, being single is so easy, so if you're unhappy with it, then you're just wrong. It's not easy. And it's a hard thing to do, like, all the time, especially if you have a desire for a relationship. Like, not everyone does, but if you do. I remember I saw this TikTok a while back from this lady who like is a photographer and has her own studio, and she made a TikTok about how she's single and she's like in her 30s, and she had to put up a bunch of stuff at her studio alone by herself. And when I first saw it, I was like, shut up, like, you're fine, you had to put up a curtain rod, you'll be okay. And then I realized that was kind of some internalized misogyny, and also like not letting myself feel my emotions enough that my reaction was like that. Anyway, her thing was like, I'm proud of myself for doing this by myself and handling things by myself when it would be a lot easier to have a partner helping me out with everything. Oftentimes, not doing life by yourself is easier, and it's easier when you have someone there with you. Hard pills to swallow time. My camera is dying a little, so hopefully it can last until this is over. Well, let's just get into it. Number one is the phrase, I only want what wants me. That phrase is something that was so crucial to me about a year ago when I had this thing with this guy, and I think I actually read that quote like when I was kind of realizing that we weren't going to work out. Basically what that means is that I'm not going to chase someone who clearly isn't into me or won't put the same amount of effort into me or us that I would put into them or us. That also helps you really stop wasting your time and stop being upset over things. Don't settle for someone's crumbs. So this is from this book again, and I wish I could find the place that talks about how like you're the whole cake. I don't know if this is from the book or just something that she said on her TikTok, but Florence Given said, right now I'm busy creating a solitude that is so delicious that I never have to look at the crumbs offered to me by another person as though it is the whole cake ever again. This is something I'm so guilty of, have always settled for. The idea is like, the cake is like happiness or a full life or a full relationship or whatever. Basically, I've often accepted crumbs from men or people, like friendships too, and been so happy with guys doing less than the bare minimum or the bare minimum because I thought that I didn't deserve the whole cake, which is like a real relationship or a real healthy relationship or just like everything I deserve. And once you realize that you can make the cake yourself and like you can be filled on your own, yeah, happy being alone, happy being single, which again, I'm still working on, but I'm so much more there than I have been in the past. Anyways, once you know that you can have that by yourself, you don't want someone who gives you the crumbs of a cake. This also is kind of related. I saw a TikTok that said that the most effective way to manipulate a woman is to distract her with the future. I don't really know how much that applies to just women, but there was a guy who I didn't actually date who said he wanted me to have his kids, which is a weird thing to say, I know, and wanted to marry me and saw us like moving across the country together in the future and knew that I was right for him and he was right for me, and he would like promise me all these things, but he would not this is so amazing. He would not be my boyfriend, and he would not take me on dates, and he would not, like, he would promise me all this stuff in the future and tell me how great it was gonna be, but he wouldn't like commit to being a good person to me today. I was so like, oh my gosh, he's like really serious about me. He really sees a future with me. All that to say, I was so distracted by the future of all this stuff that he was promising me that I was like, okay, I can wait another year before he could commit to me. You guys don't need to know all the details, but I was accepting getting literally nothing except a promise of the future. If someone can't be good to you in the present and act like they want that future with you today, you're wasting your time. If you know me in real life, please do not ask me about this. Easier said than done, but learn how to be happy on your own. This is something that you need to do. We kind of already covered this, but you need to learn how to do it. And if you want a video on that, that just might have to be a separate thing, but let me know. If they wanted to, they would. This is really hard advice to follow. Easy to fall in love with someone's potential, easy to make excuses for someone that you really care about or love or like or whatever. If they wanted to give you time and effort and communication and honesty and like add to your life, they would be doing it. My camera's about to die, guys. We'll be back. We'll be back. It's been a few hours. We're gonna try and pick up where we left off. If they wanted to, they would. What I'm saying is that if they wanted to pursue you or be in a relationship with you, they would. I saw a video from a therapist the other day about why if they wanted to, they would is both good and bad advice. The therapist was basically like, how many people have I not pursued or not tried to make things work with because I was too nervous or too scared or too shy or whatever. And I'm not telling you what to do, but I think like if I have a crush on someone right now, I could just ask them out or ask them if they like me or do something about it. And when I don't, that means that my comfort or not being embarrassed or not potentially like getting rejected is more important to me, right? And I want that more than I want to try something out with like someone that I'm interested in, right? And as a person who's confident and as a person who thinks you should just like walk through stuff like that and do the things that you say you want to do, like I hold other people to that standard, right? So I don't have very much patience for guys who are like too shy to pursue me. For me, I'm not going to waste my time and emotions on someone who wants me but isn't gonna go get it. If I wanted to, I would too, right? Like, and it's a frustrating situation, but we choose what we want. And I'm not saying that you have to rush things or that every single like interaction in your dating life needs to be like, okay, what do you want? I want that too, let's do it. Actions speak louder than words. If someone wants to respect you, if someone wants to show you love and make you feel loved and whatever, like they will do it. We prioritize the things that are a priority to us. In that book, The Liturgy of the Ordinary, it talks about how, no, this was a sermon I read. Okay, hold on. Or a sermon I watched. Well, one of the questions that we were supposed to ask ourselves from the sermon was, do my lesser desires derail my stated desires? So, of course, like this is obviously not about relationships, it's just about life, but like whatever. I say that things like going to church or studying or working out, those things I say are a priority to me, but my lesser desires is how this sermon referred to it, are the things that I actually give into. Let's see what the book has to say. I remember one of the things was like, how you spend your day is how you spend your life. When I turn on Hulu late at night, I don't consciously think I value this episode of Parks and Rec more than my family, prayer, and my own body, but my habits reveal and shape what I love and what I value, whether I care to admit it or not. So we kind of got off track a little bit there. The things we do are the things we love. And our priorities do get like disordered sometimes, but I don't know. It's just telling. That's all I have really. I made a quick list of red flags for you guys. There's a lot of obvious ones, like don't date someone who's rude to waiters, or like it's bad to start things with someone who only talks to you and wants to hang out at night, or someone who like flirts with your friends is probably a bad idea. I don't really know if mine are that special either, but here are some things that I think are red flags. I don't really know if this is actually a red flag, but someone who makes you carry the conversation and like can never keep things going on their own. There was a guy I liked recently. I thought he was so cool, but he could start like the whole conversation, but then like past that, it was all like if we were gonna keep talking to each other, it was like I had to come up with something really interesting, and then it'd be like, yeah, haha, yeah, smiley face. And then I was kind of like, does he like me? Like maybe I'm just reading this wrong. But then he'd be like, no, I really like talking to you. And I'm like, so talk to me. Nagging. Love this one. Love this one. There was a guy that I knew for years. Backhanded compliments is basically what it is. Apparently it's also from a movie. One was like, wait, you're actually hot. Like I always thought you were ugly and I was never into you, but you're actually really attractive. Like, did I need to know that? Did I need to know that you never thought I was attractive or that you were never into me? No. But it's like, now that you're telling me that I've somehow like earned it or graduated to being attractive to you, make her a little bit insecure, but then reassure her that like you like her anyway, or you didn't mean anything bad. Always in a relationship is another red flag I had. I think those types of people, no offense if that's you, I think those types of people are often more in love with the idea of love or like having a partner than actually you. I wanted to make you guys a list of green flags, but I could not think of any that weren't super obvious. I'm not exactly sure how to conclude this video. Again, I'm sure you already have, but please take everything I've said with a grain of salt. I'm not a relationship expert. I'm not someone who's really successful in relationships, but I am pretty successful in saying no to the wrong things and knowing myself and all that stuff. What do I want to leave you with? If you're a person at all like doubting their relationship status, whether that's you're with someone that you think might not be right for you, or you really wish you were in a relationship or whatever, I see you and I love you and you're valid and you're capable of making the right decision for yourself. Remember, you only want what wants you. Also, not to get too spiritual out here, but what's meant for you will find you. I can't promise that it's another person. Whatever is meant for you is more fulfilling than something that's not meant for you. If they wanted to, they would. Especially if they know that those are your expectations for them. They'll do it if they want to. Take that however you want. You owe people honesty and respect and whatever else you've promised them. Number 5, not very concise or catchy, but you can be happy without someone. If you're a single person or a person that might need to be single, you deserve to be and can be happy on your own. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really would appreciate if you would like and subscribe and comment down below. Let me know how you're spending Valentine's Day. I haven't planned anything so far. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. And happy Valentine's Day. Bye.